everyone. My name is Kanani Makikau, and I am the Director of External Relations here at Cal Poly, which oversees parent and family programs and commencement. I'm excited to be with you today for this special session with Director of Residential Experience, Cole Carver, and Marketing Coordinator, Heather Young. In our conversation today, we'll receive a guided tour of the housing website, a practical overview of key policies, and learn more about what support systems are in place to help your student. Tune in today to find answers to your frequently asked questions, from room changes and community expectations to navigating support resources throughout the year. Cole, Heather, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Hey y'all, my name's Cole Carver. My pronouns are she and hers, and I serve as the Director of Residential Student Experience. What does that really mean? My team really gets to help take care of the residents and the students while they're living with us. We do a lot of educational programming. We do a lot of conversations and mentoring, helping students connect with faculty, with clubs, helping them find their home away from home. But we're really the folks in the building helping support your students throughout their time here at Cal Poly. Heather?
Hi, everyone. My name is Heather Young. I am a communications specialist with University Housing, and my team, which is Outreach and Communications, really deals with getting information out to our students and our parents and supporters. So we oversee our front desks that are inside our communities, as well as 31, Building 31, which is housing admin, our front desk here, and communicating and working with our other partner within Cal Poly and within University Housing. So that way we have the information that you need to know, and we're able to share that with you through our website, emails, and all sorts of other things that we're able to share with you. So thanks so much. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Thank you, Cole and Heather. As you both know, right, our parents and supporters often have a lot of questions when it comes to housing. It is a big part of the student experience, right? And so as soon as we started getting questions already coming in here. So I'm taking a look at some of these questions. I will try, for folks, guests, I am going to try and maybe put some of these questions together. So you might hear your question, but it'll be compressed with another one here. So I'm looking at this one, and it says, what off-campus options exist for second year and beyond? When should students start searching and applying, and what challenges should they expect in the local market?
All right, I can take that question. So there are a lot of things in that question. So first of all, we do have students who are required to live on campus for 2 years. So if you're part of the College of Engineering, College of Architecture, College of Agriculture, Cal Poly Scholars Trio, or a student athlete, then you are required to live on campus housing for 2 years. But if you're not a required student, then you have the opportunity to live off campus. We do have some spaces available in campus housing for our continuing students who are not required. Some of the things that you may be challenged with is finding housing, and we do recommend that you start looking for housing early, which means at the end of the fall quarter and early winter quarter, depending on where you're looking to live. And so some of the considerations, like how close do you want to live to campus, what is your budget, how many people do you want to live with, what kind of situation is a house, is an apartment, what does your transportation look like, do you have a car, will you be able to get parking on campus, maybe you want to be on a bus route or bikeable. And so there's lots of things to look into, and on our website here there are some resources. And so underneath the current residence, there's off-campus housing, and this takes you to the Dean of Students website, and they have a lot of resources on here to help you find housing. And also we'll be doing different presentations throughout the year. So on this page you'll be able to find some different presentations as we get closer to starting to look for housing. So they'll have like how to be a good tenant, what you need to put on your application, what you need to know about co-signers, and there's even an education course to help you be a better applicant when you're applying for housing, because there are a lot of students looking for housing at the same time, and so it can be competitive because a landlord wants somebody who's going to be a good tenant. And so if you're able to put a leg up by taking our course, that could help you. So on this page, you're going to find quite a bit, and I want to spend a little time showing you what's on here. So there's the email here. The coordinator is a great resource. She spends a lot of time talking to other landlords and other companies and partners who are in the community for housing. And so she's the one who does the presentations. And then our resources here is a great place for finding complexes, also where slow transit stops. And so I know there's students who are looking for a place where it's close to a bus stop, because you're able to ride the slow bus for free with your polycard. And so that is a way to keep your expenses lower, not having to pay for parking on campus, and not paying for gas. So this is kind of a timeline. So this is a great resource right here of when to start working on housing for off campus. And so that's the fall. What is your budget? Who might be your roommates, or what kind of roommates do you want? The resource fair is typically in November, but put on by the Mustang Media Group. So that happens at Dexter Lawn, I think mid-November. That will be put out in Mustang News. We'll have it in our newsletter, as well as on this website here. And so there's the educated renter certificate that you can complete during winter quarter. And this just goes on. So this is a really good page to find more resources. And as well as some additional resources down here under handouts. Okay, I think I answered those questions. Is there anything I missed, Kanani?
I don't think so. I think what you're showing us right now is that when you want to find the information, it is out there, right? So our parents and supporters that have these questions in mind, these are the kind of things that you will find resource-wise on the Cal Poly websites for off-campus housing and housing, which I know that we'll look more into that website a little bit later. Great coverage. Thanks, Heather. Also, another question that came in that's sort of a general question is, do you have any advice for students living in the halls for the first time, right? We have a lot of first-time parents and supporters on this webinar today.
Yeah, I think I have some advice maybe. I think the more that you can encourage your student to reach out if they are having any questions or struggling, it's really important. There's tons of folks here on campus, and specifically within our area of residential student experience, that are here to help support and help navigate the college experience with students. We also recognize that this might be the first time they're living away from home. They might be experiencing some homesickness or just concerns and unknown of meeting new people or finding their classes, or how do I make all of the responsibilities and things that I'm supposed to do, and figuring out how to make your schedule. We have student leaders, RAs, that are available to help walk students through that. We also have coordinators of student development who are professional staff members that oversee each neighborhood. And there's a variety of other folks as well. So asking for help is really important, and letting us know that they're struggling or they have questions. The other thing is having an open mind. You might be living with people for the first time. You might be sharing a bedroom for the first time. And all of those things may stretch what you've experienced before, or may have you figure out that you have to be more flexible in some areas than things that you've done before. And so the more that we can encourage our students to enjoy the journey, right? There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be a lot of unknowns. There's going to be things that they're going to have to maybe figure out a new experience towards. But if they can keep an open mind and they can ask for help when they need help, I think those are my two big pieces of advice for students.
Excellent. Great advice. Heather, did you want to add anything in there, or do you think Colette covered that?
She covered it great.
Yeah. Good job, Colette. Okay, thanks for that. Getting more into the questions so we can get to all of them, folks. Let's see. Any tips for making a triple more space efficient for the first year students? That's a really specific question.
That is a really specific question. So all of our rooms are configured in a very specific way to make sure that they are in compliance with a lot of different things. And ultimately, they're set up this way to make sure that students are safe within them. So like they're bunked a certain way and they have the guardrails a certain way. And so we really want to make sure that students aren't reconfiguring or moving around their furniture because they are truly set up for a specific reason. However, with all of that, you can definitely do some like underbed storage, all the different Tupperwares and different things that really help with making efficient use of the space that is in there. I also know that a lot of students like to make their space their own. And so using command strips, making sure that we're trying not to tear the paint and those various things. Those are always really fun items. I think making sure that the students are really aware of the policies around what can be hung up, what can't be hung up. There are limitations to like strings of lighting and things that can be seen on or off of the windows. All of those different things are really important to be mindful of. And you can actually see it right here on our website. If you go to the 25-26 University Housing Policy Guides, this document right here really outlines all of the specifics of what students should know to make sure that they are making their space feel their own, making it cozy and space efficient, but also making sure that they're following within all of the policies here. Heather, what am I missing about room setups?
The biggest thing I've talked to students about is bringing less things. I know I always take too many things. And so taking less than you think, because once you get here and you're moved in, you're going to see what you need. And I know from experience, it's often what I don't need.
Yeah, that is a really good one, right? Also, if there's three folks living in a space, making sure there's like some kind of communication around, oh, I'm bringing this. So then we don't have six of that item, or different things like that.
100%. One thing I like about what we offer in university housing is that every room has a fridge. So nobody has to worry about bringing a fridge, and we don't need additional microwaves because every floor and every kitchen has a microwave. So there's a lot that's not needed.
Yes, absolutely. We can actually probably take you to the website and show you a room. There's some really good 3D
Cool.
tours on there as well that kind of help maybe give a visual for what our spaces look like. Oh, yes. Here we go. So as you can see kind of in here, we do have the dressers and the wardrobes for each student. There's not a lot of room in these spaces for extra things. So really being mindful of what we're bringing and making sure that they are set up in this specific manner. But there's always cool things that you can hang or different ways to use different Tupperware pieces. Those things can also be really handy. I've seen a lot of students use like a little added bookshelf on top where they can put their phone and their water bottle or things that they might use at night so they're not climbing down all the time. But this does a great job of showing what that room looks like. Thanks, Heather.
You're welcome. I think this next room has some things under the bed too.
Oh, yeah. Foot storage, that's a great one. Or shoe
All
storage.
right.
Oh, and the extra hooks here.
Yes. Yeah, just definitely being mindful of the fire suppression system that's on the top there. We definitely don't want to be hanging anything from those.
Yeah, they made good use of their command strips, command hooks.
Awesome. Kanani,
Okay.
how does that look for you?
Oh, that looks great. I think that's really helpful for our parents and supporters. And the fact that we got into a little bit of policy, right? Beforehand, we were showing that PDF there. So this next question just is perfect timing here. This person asked, how are quiet hours, guest policies, and access enforced? And what happens if alcohol is found on a substance-free floor?
Great questions. So I'm going to take it in a really broad stance here, right? So we have the licensing agreement, we have the code of conduct, we have our housing policies, and they're all governing policies that tell us what can and can't be done on campus, really focused around the safety of our students. We do have student leaders that work and live with our residents. They are also students. They're here to be mentors, to be guides, to be a resource. They're also here to make sure that the rules are being followed, right? And so our students, our student leaders do community walks every night at a variety of times throughout the night. We also have students that are on the floor, so if they see something, they will address it. If there is a policy that's alleged to be violated, so let's say Heather is in her room and the student leaders walk by and there's an alcohol bottle on the floor, in students' hands, whatever that might be, right? What will happen is the student leader will ask for the students involved information. We complete an incident report, and then that incident report is reviewed by our office as well as the Office for Student Rights and Responsibilities. And then the code of conduct actually outlines all of the pieces that we are required to do as a system as we are adjudicating or looking into policy violations. But really what happens is we send a student an email saying, hey, Heather, we have reason to believe that you may have violated the alcohol policy. Come in and talk to us at this date at this time. We understand that students are learning, and we want to provide educational opportunities for students. And so our whole conduct system is really focused on education, learning, take accountability and responsibility for your actions. This year during WOW, Brad Pulsifer and I also had the opportunity, along with some other folks, to have conversations with all of our first year students about the policies, about what might happen if you might violate a policy. And we really encourage the students to say, hey, like I messed up, I'm willing to learn from it, and I'm willing to do better next time. And so that's really the conversation that we've been having with students. But ultimately, if they receive an email from my office or from the Office of Student Rights and Responsibility, the expectation is for students to come in and talk to us. And then from there, we determine if there's a responsibility met, and then if there is, we determine whether or not or what kind of outcomes or sanctions might be assigned to that specific situation.
All right, great information there. Thank you. This question looks like they've used the abbreviation. They might know a little something about it. What are RLCs and how does my student get involved?
Ooh, great question. So RLCs are our residential learning communities. So at Cal Poly, when you are applying for housing and choosing where you're going to live, you don't actually choose a building to begin with, right? We want you to choose your people. Who do you believe you're going to be connected with? And then from there, we place those RLCs into specific buildings based on this very puzzling situation that we figure out. But we have a lot of different RLCs. We have cultural communities, we have college-based communities, we have leadership, substance-free, a variety of different residential learning communities. And these are truly communities of folks that want to get together, that they say, yep, I am in CLA and that's my major and that's my college. Therefore, I want to live with other folks that are going to be in my college. But this is really how we help folks find their folks. when they first start living here with us. And Heather's showing you right here, each of our RLCs on the website actually has a little blurb so you can look at them, right? Students are open, can go to any of them. Just because I'm in CLA, maybe I am in CLA, but I have a minor or I plan to do something that's in cafes. So maybe I actually want to be in the cafes RLC instead. And so students really have the option and the full choice of being involved in any of them that they choose. Heather, correct me. Do they pick their top 3 RLCs or 2 RLCs? Top
Two.
2 RLCs are what we ask you to identify on your housing application.
And then what if a student really wants to get into one, didn't get into one, maybe their first quarter or so? How do they get it? Is it a wait list, or how do they put their
Yeah,
name in the hat?
great question. So what we would probably do is use our room change process to help students. We do have it froze for the first couple weeks as we make sure everyone's accounted for and in their buildings and in their rooms. And then we figure out and see what spaces are open. And students are able to go onto their housing portal and put in, I want a room change, and here are the specific things I'm looking for. And they can outline some of those pieces in that process. They can always come into Building 31 and talk to our assignments team or go see their coordinator of student development. All of us are able to help walk them through that process. But if they didn't get into their specific RLC and they were looking to move into a different one, after that first couple weeks pass and the room change process opens, we're happy to help navigate that with them. It will definitely be on an individual basis, depending on what's available and what rooms are where.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks for that great in-depth answer. This question is a parent who's thinking about the roommate agreement, and how conflicts are addressed by the RA or professional staff. And I think you went into that a little bit before, Heather and Coley. Do you want to talk about, maybe say a student has a complaint or needs to talk with their RA? What does that chain look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have student leaders or RAs in all of our communities, and those folks are the RAs have to be at least their sophomore year, but they are folks that students can go to, right? They are trained in de-escalation and mediation, and they know all the resources here at Cal Poly. So truly, your RA is kind of your first step and first point of contact most of the time because they live on the floor with you. Next up would be our coordinators of student development. Those are the professional staff members that oversee the RAs and each of their communities. After the coordinator of student development, we also have assistant directors who help support the CSDs in the greater neighborhood, like all of Yaqui Tutu or all of North and South Mountain. And those are the folks that you see right there on the screen. We also have a residential care coordinator. They really specialize on students that are struggling, whether that's with homesickness or finding their place, navigating school. But that role, Catleo, is a great resource for students that might just need somebody to talk to. And their office is within our office as well. They're located up in Poly Canyon Village. But if we really want to talk about like the roommate agreement part of it, right? Our team goes through and meets with all of the residents. We really, really encourage roommates to take the roommate agreement seriously, right? Spend some time the first couple of days of class really outlining, this is when I tend to go to bed. Here's our plan for managing study time. Here's when how we'll lock our doors here, how we will communicate with each other if somebody's not coming home, right? All of those pieces, talking about them is really helpful as they live together, right? The roommate agreement is a dynamic agreement. It can always adjust and change, right? Students are going to grow, they're going to change, they're going to have different schedules over their year of living together. And so it's really a tool to help navigate living together. I think I said this earlier, right? Like sometimes this is the first time that people are living together in a bedroom together. And we understand that there can be concerns, conflict, all of that's normal. I think the biggest part is we're here to help navigate that. And we just want students to come to the table and have those conversations with their roommates and with us so that we can best support everybody.
Very good. So it sounds like our students that are living here on campus have a lot of avenues for support to explore if they are encountering challenges or barriers.
Absolutely.
All right. Great. We are getting through these questions, folks. Great job on everyone's account. Okay. This parent is saying, what do we need to know about winter break and campus housing? Do they have to move all the way out for every break?
We do have different breaks throughout the academic year. So the first one comes up as fall break. They do not have to move out and they don't have to leave, and there's no additional cost for winter break. So if they rather stay here, they can. And there's usually a Friendsgiving dinner on that Thursday of fall break. And then our next one is winter break, and we do close for winter break. And so let me go on the website so we can see where that is. So we're going to go to fees and I'll likely note here. So it really talks about how much it is. So it is a flat fee for all of winter break, and students need to move out by 5 p.m. on December 13th, which is a Saturday. So it's after finals and classes end for the fall quarter. And then they can move it back in starting at noon on January 4th. So that's the Sunday before classes start. And it's right after New Year's. So we tend to be a little bit of quick time for them to come back in. But we do have availability for students who need to stay or want to stay. They don't have somewhere else to go for the break, for them to stay on campus. And so those who live in apartments will stay in their apartment. Once they sign up, we do block doors so people who haven't gotten that extension, they won't be able to be in campus housing, but those who have will be able to access their apartment. If they live in a residence hall, then they will be assigned a special apartment, usually in Cerro Vista, for them to live for that time. They don't have to take all of their stuff. They don't have to move out. So when people leave to go home for break or they go to the apartments for winter break housing, they just need to take what they need for those 3 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks. But however long a winter break is, because they will not have access to their space until noon on January 4th. Do you have other questions on winter break?
So just to be clear, right? They do have to leave, but they don't have to take their things with them, correct?
Only what they need. So if you're going to travel, make sure you have your passport, any important documents that you need, wetsuits, surfboards, bikes, anything that they might want while they're on break or wherever they might go vacationing. Make sure you have that with you, but you don't have to take everything with you. You can leave your homework, you can leave most of your clothes and all that behind.
Got it. Okay. Thanks, Heather. Just looking at our questions here, that was the last question. So I'll ask you, Heather, is there anything else, other features on the website that we didn't cover today that folks could benefit from exploring that you recommend?
Absolutely. So we have quite a few different things, and I myself utilize our website quite a bit. And I know sometimes it's harder to find things because we have a lot of layers. But for first year housing, so this is a good place to go for those who are living in residence halls now. So this has all of the different residence halls, including Poly Canyon Village, since we have first years living in Aliso this year. And what you can see when you go in here is it's going to give you the virtual tour. So this will take you directly to the virtual tour that shows you each room configuration, the community center, kitchen, bathrooms, and whatnot. And then coming down here, I know I've heard people ask about floor plans. So this will give you more specifics on the floor plans, dimensions, furnitures in each of our communities. So this one's specifically for the tower, so Sierra Madre and Yosemite. what's included, the bed size, which is a big one. I know many students are here now, but if you need to buy new bedding, like making sure it's the twin extra long, and what comes in each room. And then we have amenities, in case there's any questions, laundry. I know the students are here. This is one of my favorite amenities is no additional cost for laundry. Just bring your laundry detergent. And then, and other things. So there's quite a bit in here of what students need to know. And so this is, again, specifically the towers. Go back. So it gives you each of our communities. And then this has summer housing, which I know we're way far away from next summer, but when we get closer, this will give information about summer housing. Students do not need to be taking any units at Cal Poly to live in summer housing. And that's for continuing students above. So not new students, like new transfers and new first years, but our first years who are here now, if they want to stay in San Luis next year and live in campus housing, that's something that's available to them. So this is a good place to get more information. It has this past summer's information, since we're not yet planned for next summer, but it gives you a good starting point of what it might be for next summer. Although it's going to be a little different summer next year, but as far as I know, we'll still have that summer housing option. And then winter and spring break housing. I didn't address that last question. I talked about fall break, but not spring break. So spring break is like fall break. We do not close. Students do not have to leave. Many of them do. They have fun going somewhere else during spring break, but there's students who stay around or come and go depending on what their week holds. So it's all the normal rules and policies, but they don't have to leave, and they can come back at any time. We have our process and deadlines. So I won't go into that one now because if we're talking about current first years, we'll go look at the continuing housing, and that's going to talk about applying for housing next year. So this goes into some more, we looked at the learning communities, FIQs. So this gives some additional questions, and maybe if parents looked at this before and the questions didn't apply, they may not have read or retained information. I do that. So, but maybe now something comes up. This is a good place to go because we put in a lot of things we get asked frequently. Frequently asked questions. So it's a good place to go to. So hopefully we can get that question answered here. And if not, you could always reach out to us. And we do talk about future housing mitigations, and that goes right into another part I want to talk about is this link down here, future of housing. That's a good place to go to see what we're planning for the next well, it says 10-year plan, but I think we're now about like 8 or 9-year plan from now. So what we have planned, and one of the big things we have planned is opening our first new building this next fall, so less than a year from now. And that page right there has a lot of updates. So as we have new things to add, new information, pictures, we put it on that page. So I'm going to go let's see, we did the first year. Now we're going to go to continuing housing. So this is where I wanted to kind of highlight the process and deadlines because this is what we're going to be looking at for next year's housing. And this is updated from the end of spring quarter, and we'll be updating this as we go into the fall with new information for next year's housing. And so this kind of outlines what kind of living occupancy we have in the apartments, and all second year and above students, unless they're an RA, are going to live in apartments. And so this kind of shows you the different layouts and how the roommate groups fit in there. And these dates are for this past year. So, but they'll be similar, a little different since we're going to be switching to semesters and our move-in is going to be earlier than it has in the past, but it's going to be similar to last year's dates. Now that we're past move-in, we will be figuring out what our dates and process looks for this coming year. But this gives an idea of what we're going to be looking at. So there's drop downs in each of these. It gives more information. And then back up here under continuing housing, under fees, we'll show you what the fees are currently for the continuing students living in apartments. And okay, and then these are the two continuing apartment neighborhoods. And then transferring grad students, Our calendar. So we have a couple different links here. Housing deadlines is the one that we use the most because that's going to talk about when payments are due, summer move outs with I know it's September, but our summer move out was earlier this month, when students are moving in, and it's just going to go through each month with different things that are happening. So winter break interest list is going to open up in mid-October. So if your student is thinking about staying for winter break, this is when they can get on the interest list. And when we open up the application for it, then they'll get an email telling them that it is open, so they can go in and secure their winter break housing. And then, so there's just quite a bit in here. So if you're ever questioning like, ooh, when does this application open? What is this deadline? What's happening? This is a good place to go for that information. And then I'm going to go down below. And so the incoming residents, so some things to see under here. We have our two-year housing program, and who I'm going to go in there. So it's what groups are part of the two-year housing requirement, and then exemptions, because there are students who do meet some of these exemptions, like maybe they're 21 or older. Recently, we had a resident who reached out to us because they're getting married, so that is an exemption for living in campus housing because we do not have family or dependent housing. Yeah, and then we have some more frequently asked questions about the two-year requirement. Then I go back. And another one I like to highlight is our housing tour page. And we were on that earlier, but down here you can see each of our communities, so the first-year neighborhoods and then our campus apartments. And you will see that we do have double suites, but we don't have them on our virtual tours yet. I'm hoping to add that soon as we're adding new housing, having those redone. But this will give you an idea of what the apartments look like. So we have each, except for double suites, each apartment configuration in these to walk through the apartments. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to do a quick little highlight under current residents. So here at the top, I put together the housing scoop, and every month after we send it out to residents, I put a link here to it that has information about that related to housing. So sometimes it's about, okay, perfect. And then I'm going to do a quick little highlight under current residents. So here at the top, I put together the housing scoop, and every month after we send it out to residents, I put a link here to it that has information about that related to housing. So sometimes it's about
health and safety inspections,
Thank you.
move-ins, move out, breaks, like events that are coming up, all sorts of things. But it's it's like our newsletter to residents of like, hey, look at this. These are things you need to know about in the next month.
Thank you, Clay. So it's so much time putting it together, I sometimes forget all the things.
And you mentioned something really important too, Colette, is that when you were talking to Heather here, is that like there's a lot of events. I don't know if people realize that maybe it's not the days of old residential housing. I mean, there's a lot of events that happen.
Oh my goodness. Yes. There are lots and lots of events, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds a year. So one thing to really encourage your student to do is check out Cal Poly Now. That is where all the stuff is at. So it's a super cool website that folks can log into. Students can see more when they're totally logged in, but y'all can check it out too to see kind of what's happening. There's a lot of different filtering options. There's club information. Students can download their event pass, and so every time they come to an event, they can scan in, and we can be like, "Oop, yep, Heather was here. Yep, Heather came to this." And then at the end, Heather will have this whole long list of things that she's attended during the year. But you can find things based on housing, our faculty and residents, building a budget from our off-campus housing partners. So there's like tons and tons of great stuff in there.
Thank you so much, Colette and Heather, for the fantastic information that you were able to provide today about housing. It's clear that the program plays a vital role in supporting our student success here at Cal Poly. And as we wrap up, I want to remind everyone that the resources and guidance offered by University Housing are designed to help students thrive both academically and personally. If you have any further questions or need more information, please contact the housing team. Thank you all for joining us today, and a special thanks again to Cole and Heather for your time and expertise.